Welcome back, strategic angling fans. This is episode number 38 of Strategic Angling presented by K&K True Value in Bettendorf, Iowa. I am your host, Brady Hanna. I've got really no agenda for today's video. I want to talk about a few baits. I want to give you guys feedback on the big blade chatterbait. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with local tournament stuff. So today's video is just going to be kind of a hodgepodge. Kind of trying out a new format, trying to be a little bit more entertaining, maybe less educational. Not that you may or may not have learned anything from me in the last couple of weeks, but I just want to just try different things with this channel and see, if this is what you guys want. So, talking first about area happenings. So, Harvester Bass Club wrapped up its season last weekend with a classic shootout style event. One day on pool 13, could only fish pool 13. One day on pool 14, could only fish, again, pool 14. 20-something boats showed up. You had to fish, I think, at least 5 events to qualify. Congrats to Adam Krieger and Kevin Atkinson for the win. Had a mega bag on day 1, just over 20 pounds. Sounded like they caught some on swimming craws. Some crankbaits, according to Adam's post. So fall transition maybe is on. Congrats to those guys. They had a decent bag on day 2 on pool 14. Definitely not the biggest bag, but they had enough to hang on. They had a pretty good lead. So congrats to those guys. And Harvester is a club that you guys should check out if you're looking for a club to join in the area. The other club in the area also wrapped up their season, QC Bass Club. I'm also a member of that club. I like those guys. Got to know some of them this year. They wrapped up their year-end event up in Lansing. Ryan and Carrie Beeman won, I think, with just a hair under 30 pounds for 2 days. That one was at a Lansing you could kind of lock wherever. So Harvester Bass kind of focuses mostly on local events. QC Bass, more of your traveling weekend. They kind of get up and down the river a little bit more. So, both good clubs. Congrats to Ryan and Carrie Beeman. They won the end of year event, and congrats to Pat Ward. He was their Angler of the Year. Not entirely sure who was Harvester's Angler of the Year because they have a number of different series. QC Bass just has the one. It's a little easier for me to follow, but congrats to those guys. So, a little bit of area happenings there. Nationally, Jacob Porosnik won an Open, so he punched his ticket to the Classic next year. He's also leading the points. Really good fisherman who kind of left Bass Pro Tour last season and is trying to qualify organically for the elites again. So that's kind of a little bit of news about national stuff that's gone on in the last week. And then I want to talk a little bit about newer baits and new things that K&K has to offer. So I found these. I love this season. I got into drop shotting out at Lost Grove really hard. Not entirely sure what it was about the drop shot. I mean, it didn't really produce for me much winning, but it caught a lot of fish. This is the most fish I've ever caught at Lost Grove probably. And I've been doing it on a drop shot. The bottom has been just a little bit weird this year, whereas before you maybe could drag a bottom contact bait. This year I don't know if it's weedy, dirty, or what, but drop shot. Really caught them, and I was excited to see these Rebarb brand quality worm holding hooks. My favorite thing to drop shot right now is a RoboWorm. So these hooks are they're made by Gamakatsu. They're kind of similar to those straight shank worm hooks, a part of the G Finesse series. They're a little bit cheaper, and they offer these in a little bit bigger size. To be honest with you, I lost a few really clutch fish at our Lost Grove League shootout, and I've been trying to mess with new hooks because I wanted a little bit bigger option, and Matt's got these down at K&K, these Rebarb hooks, and so far, so good. Big fan. The only thing I would say is the bait keeper kind of jacks up my worm a little bit, but I've only caught maybe 15 fish on these hooks so far, so still playing with those. The other thing that's new to K&K is the Spro Essential Series Flappin' Frog. So most frog companies now have a paddling option. Spro was probably one of the last ones to add a nice flapping buzzbait kind of style frog. The really unique thing about this bait is that the legs are actually molded into the body. So this should be a little bit more durable leg-wise. I haven't actually got out and used one of these yet. I just, of course, bought a ton. They're really soft, really unique feeling. And if this bait holds up over time, it's going to be a really good bait to have on your side. Super soft, and the built-in legs is great. I'm going to stretch them way out. I'm excited to try these. Haven't gone out and tried one yet, but I am excited to try one. So that is the new Essential Series Flappin' Frog. He's got a decent selection of colors down there. Would give those a try, especially this time of year when the fish are eating shad, maybe a little more active. You can do very well on a buzzbait. You can also do very well on a frog that kind of mimics a buzzbait but still is weedless. So Essential Series Flappin' Frog. Give them a try. I bought quite a few. Haven't used them, of course. The thing that I did buy a bunch of and use was the Big Blade Chatterbait. Big Blade Chatterbait. I bought a bunch, talked about them last week. I will say I am lukewarm on them right now. Not a huge fan off the bat. I'm pretty used to throwing a jackhammer. You can work those at whatever speed you want. You can rip them out of grass. They're kind of weedless. It's stupid. I don't understand why. That Big Blade Chatterbait is not a jackhammer, but that's fine. It's its own bait, and I haven't yet spent enough time figuring out how the best way to use that bait is. I'm guessing it's more of a slow roll, dirty water, make a lot of commotion chatterbait, and it does wobble really hard. It does make a ton of commotion, but it might not be the best option for shallow grass fishing. I am lukewarm on it. I couldn't work it really fast, and it wasn't ripping out of the grass quite how I wanted it to on Saturday. So lukewarm on that, but again, I've only spent maybe an hour throwing it so far. But I think it's something that might have some play. A deeper, maybe a chatterbait that you throw, let it sink, and you work it deeper, slower. I think it could excel at that. But for your river traditional, throw it, burn it back, I'm not sure that that's the bait for that. Again, still need to play with it. So we talked about local, we talked about new baits, we talked about the Big Blade Chatterbait. Let's talk a little bit about what I perceive. Again, this is what I perceive fish are going to be doing in the next couple weeks, or are already doing. Water temps are cooling. Nights are finally getting cooler. It is October 13th, and the nights are finally starting to get cooler. You're seeing some water temperature differences. This is some of the best fishing of the year. People really love spring. I love fall. Fish are feeding, going to put on that feed bag for the next month until it gets really cold. Fish are going to be active. Fish are going to be shallow. They're going to be pushing shad. They're going to be pushing bait fish. It's already going on at Lost Grove. It's happening some for sure on the river. I think the river's maybe a hair behind where it was last year at this time, just because we've been unseasonably warm all month till this week. This fishing is gonna get good on the river. I'm looking forward to it last fall around this time with some of the best fishing of the year for me. I love throwing a crankbait. I love throwing spooks. Those are the kind of baits that are going to start to really excel, and have already started to excel, for the last couple tournaments. So get out there. Fishing season's not over. I know people are hunting, doing other stuff, football season, kids are back at school, but don't forget about fishing, okay? The fish are still out there. Somebody's got to catch them. Could be you, could be me. I don't know. Go out and try it. Again, give me some feedback, guys. I want to hear what people think of these frogs. Come down and try those hooks. Give me some feedback. I want to interact with you guys a little bit. I want to hear what you think, and I will feature some of the feedback if I get any on the show. I'm looking for feedback on the Big Blade Chatterbait. I'm looking for feedback on these rebarb worm hooks, and if somebody goes down and gets, the Essential Series frog, who already is using the frogs and has opinions to share, let's get them on the show. I want to start to get the audience and the community a little more involved, and I'm also open to content ideas, things you guys want to see in the latter part of the year as, fishing does unfortunately wind down and ice fishing starts to pick up. I've actually got ice fishing plans this year. Don't tell my wife, she's not a fan of ice fishing yet, but I'm buying a shack in the next couple days, preparing myself to try and ice fish this winter. So looking for ideas, looking for feedback. We might have a college episode coming up soon, talked to some local college fishermen from the University of Dubuque. They want to get on the show in the next couple weeks and talk about college fishing. I'm very interested to hear about that. So yeah, we would love to hear from you guys. Shoot us an email. I'll put our email down in the link. You guys know how to get a hold of me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Comment on this video if you got feedback. Want to hear from you guys. So I appreciate you tuning in. We will see you guys sometime next week, either Tuesday or Thursday. It's kind of been the upload schedule for me, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Take care, and we'll see you next week.